Hey, good morning, welcome back. Recently, I've been diving into the information in regards to TCN because where I am going, I will be supported by a TCN, which would be my main node. So I wanted to make sure that I could share this information with you just in case you have a TCN itself. So you also know that there's two different variants of TCN. You got an AN/MSC /-82, which is a heavy. That's a basic TCN. But then you also got AN/MSC-85, which is a light. So being able to distinguish the differences is important because one is going to carry the trailer and one carries everything on the truck itself. So let's get into the antennas. One, you're going to have a whip antenna if they are still tied to the TCN. Who knows? But you're going to have a CNR antenna. A CNR antenna is very important. You can utilize your CNR antenna to talk via voice over IP to anybody that is sitting in the office, which is good. So that is a good feature. There's also the HARFU, the high band frequency unit, HARFU. The HARFU has 16 antennas, but 15 antennas are used. So what I mean by that, 15 antennas are used. These antennas provide a 360-degree coverage, pulling in signals all around you. So if you have different people, different units operating to your right or your left, that HARFU 15 antennas are going to spin inside of the HARFU, which basically pulls all the data in. That 16th antenna is for aerial. So we're kind of like going away from that. Attached to that HARFU, we have an RTEC. The RTEC will be erected. It's like 10-meter mast. Basically, it's a line of sight. So you're going to shoot from one RTEC to the next RTEC. Range extension throughput kit, right? An RTEC. If don't hold me to the words, I mean you can look it up. It's RTEC. But however, you have the RTEC attached to that HARFU, which is erected at 30-meter mast. Do not ride 10-meter mast. Do not ride down the road with your 10-meter mast erected, trying to do point to point. You're going to damage the vehicle. Now, once we move down towards the baseband, we have on that baseband, we have what we call a bubble, right? You'll see it. It's like an M20 sat in that bubble. So the rule of thumb is that when you are on the move, you can communicate via two ways in your TCN. You can communicate by that M20 sat, which will give you NCW. You can communicate by that HARFU, which will basically be line of sight tied into other TCNs. So that's two ways you can communicate if you are in a TCN on the move. Near the back of the baseband, you have the LAWAN. You have the GPS antenna. So with that GPS antenna, it's basically pulling in data from all satellites, and it's basically synchronizing your movement on that TCN. So next, we're gonna move to the baseband. So the baseband is basically your hub, your house. On the right side of that baseband, you're gonna have your enclaves classification. The only thing that separates your enclaves classification will be configuration at that router. Next, when you go inside of the baseband in the tunnel, you're gonna have your ECU. So you need to make sure your ECU is always up to date, and you need to make sure it's working because your switch houses and your routers get very, very hot. And if it gets hot and shut down, you're gonna have a bad day. Near the back of that TCN, you're gonna have what we call signal entry panels. These signal entry panels allow you multiple capabilities. I'm gonna share a few. One, you can fiber into a NOS. Two, you can fiber in to a HECLOS. Three, you have to fiber into your STT, which you have a 208 plus tied to your TCN. The reason why, because it's going to provide you that dedicated bandwidth to make sure you be able to communicate like you need to. Near the left-hand side of the baseband, once you lift that access panel up, you will have your H and W unit in there. Now all that's going to tie into your HARFU, your RTEC, and all your line of sight stuff, so that way you can communicate. Now, while you're moving down the road, you're going to utilize your 15K generator on the unit. That 15K generator is going to power everything inside of the baseband, power the truck too as well, and then make sure you have continuity of power. When you stop, you're going to transition that power to your 30K generator because you are going to pull mass amounts of power. You use that 30K generator. Now let's make our way up to the cab. Now making our way up to the cab, we have something called an MDA, multi-display atlas. This atlas is very important because in a TCN, it allows you to jump to different locations. So if you are able to jump to different locations, that multi-display atlas is very important because now I do not have to shut down my routers, switches, my service in the basement. Now I can jump to the next location, still active, and then replug back in and continue on mission. Everybody knows once you power down your systems and power back up, things go wrong. So understanding your capabilities of your TCN is very important because now I believe that 90% of the brigades operate with a TCN. So if you are a signal officer that will have a TCN and if you find this video helpful, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, reach out because I don't know everything and I'm trying to learn because I have a TCN. Most importantly, this is a journey. I am a lifelong learner and thanks for watching.